Hey guys, welcome. My name is Ethan Wood, and today we're talking about Freaky Tales and things that you should probably know before you go see it in theaters. Now, in preparation for this video, I did some research, just trying to figure out what the heck this film even was, because I hadn't heard of it before. And after doing the research, I can safely say that this is one of the most highly underrated films of 2025 so far. And honestly, the critics are not doing it justice. I think this film is highly underrated. You should definitely go see it. It has a lot of cool Easter eggs and things that we are going to talk about right now. So please sit back, get comfortable, and let's get right into it. Okay, so this film came out on April 4th, 2025. I believe this video is going to get posted on April 5th, so it's already in theaters. You can go see it now. It's not talked a whole lot about online currently, and it hasn't been for a while. So I think we need to talk about just the themes of the movie. I want to cover those. We should discuss the historical context of it because it actually has a really interesting history. I want to discuss some of the Easter eggs with it, and then at the end I want to cover a really sad story relating to this movie, but something we should definitely bring up. So first, the themes. It stars Pedro Pascal as Clint, which I love that Pedro Pascal is in this movie because people have said this online too. He is in literally every single movie he can get his hands on, and I think that is so funny. So good for him. He is just, what a legend. I love the man. Clint. Clint is the anti-hero of Freaky Tales who wants to give up his life of crime in order to take care of his wife and his unborn child. Now, that's very admirable, very anti-hero-like. However, there is a duality to him from what I was researching. Basically, I think the whole point of the film was for Clint to be living this life of crime in Oakland, California, and then he was going to give it up for his wife, but then his wife actually gets killed halfway through the movie, so then he reverts back to his old life and starts to live a life of revenge. He is seeking after revenge. So it's a whole, him dealing with the grief of that while also trying to move past his former life, which is a pretty good story, very emotional. And with Pedro Pascal, he should play it pretty well. But it's a whole story of redemption. And I think that's lovely. I love stories of redemption. I think that, especially in a place like Oakland, where it's gritty, dirty, scummy, this is a really good movie to make. I will say, it's rated R. It's about a 2-hour film, and it's filmed on site. So I think with the emotional story and the actors and just the fact that it's going to be real, it's going to be hard, I think it'll be worth it. I think they did a pretty good job. There's a couple more reasons for that later. But what's really cool, and this doesn't really have to do with the themes, we're done talking about that right now. It premiered at the Grand Lake Theater in Oakland, California, where it's at that part is actually in the film. So that's kind of cool that it premiered there. But that kind of gets into my next point. So themes, great, no problems there. The historical context of this movie is fascinating to me, and if you don't know it, basically, Freaky Tales exist to highlight the fact that Oakland, California shaped American culture in ways that no one understands and no one really talks about. There is this thing called the Skinhead Movement, which started in 1960 back in London. It was like a blue-collar revolt almost, where they wanted to resist hippies and stay true to the working class of London, which kind of spread all over the world. I get it, hippies were kind of weird, so that makes sense that there was a group that was trying to resist them. But in the 1970s, they adopted racist and neo-Nazi ideals, which was not ideal for anyone, including them, because then it turned them into a very violent and hate crime pushy group. They just committed a lot of hate crimes, that's all I'm trying to say. But they targeted groups of people that resisted them, so AKA punks. Or the whole punk movement that was starting, and if you know anything about punk culture, they love their music, and they love their bands. So they would target these punk bands a lot, and they would break out into fights a bunch. That was just kind of a thing that was happening, because, the punks were against racism and other things like that. So, that never kind of went away. I think there's still groups of people at war with one another over racism and whatever, so that never stopped. But there was one concert that really stuck out and really marked history, and that was on 924th Gilman Street, because at that point there was a band on that street that was performing a song called Skinhead, which directly attacked the entire movement, the entire Skinhead movement. So the Skinheads showed up and they started to attack the security guards of that concert, which turned out into a big brawl. There was one man named George Steffens Stevens. There was one man named George Steffens who rallied everyone in the audience, including the punk members, to attack the skinheads out of defense, which also turned into a massive brawl, even bigger than the one before. And this marked history because this was the first time that punks really stood their ground and the skinheads lost all their power after that. So this movie is kind of related to that content a little bit. If you watch the movie, you'll notice that there's a fantasy take on it, so it's not quite based in reality. You'll see what I mean by that. They like literally have superpowers in this movie, kind of wild. But it's known as the punk resistance of 924th Gilman Street. So kind of cool. So that's a historical context. If you didn't know that, it kind of adds another layer to it. And the cool thing, again, it's filmed in Oakland, California. So you see all these locations that you can look up online and say, oh, that's where that event happened. Or, oh, that's actually 924th Gilman Street. Or, hey, that's the theater that they premiered the place in. Like, I think that's so cool. And that just speaks to the director, which segue into Easter eggs. There are quite a few Easter eggs. One of them is that Boden and Ryan Fleck are the directors of this, and you may be saying, that sounds like a normal thing. Well, actually, Ryan grew up in Oakland, so for him, this is a passion project, and I think that's what's gonna set it apart, is you're gonna see him portraying his characters, because he also wrote it, in a way that is accurate, and in a way that actually shares his story. It's relatable for him. I think that's gonna be different, and it's gonna hit a lot different with audiences, so I hope that's what actually happens. Second Easter egg, Too Short was involved with this movie. He was actually the producer and he was the narrator of the film. And if you don't know Too Short, he is a very famous rapper in Oakland, California. I don't think he might live there still, but he was from there originally, very iconic, very famous. And he doesn't actually play himself in the movie because he's old now, but a guy named Simba plays him, and he has some big shoes to fill. Third Easter egg, which is a really sad one, and that's the one I wanted to talk about, is with Angus Cloud. Now, this trailer that got released surprised audiences because Angus Cloud appeared, and everyone was like, that's a little odd. Obviously, they've been sitting on this movie. And if you don't know, he passed away in 2023, and that is 2 years ago at this point. So audiences were surprised. Honestly, after I figured that out, it's sad, right? Like, it's really, really sad. He died at the age of 25 due to a drug overdose, also due to mental health problems that had been persistent for quite a few years. And he was mainly known for his role in Euphoria. So he had a pretty good role, pretty good acting career before all this went down. But yeah, it's just sad. And if any family members, any fans are watching, I just want to pay my respects to him and say, I hope that this film represents him well and celebrates his life in a way that, yeah, that should be celebrated. And also a reminder for everyone that if you are dealing with mental health struggles, please reach out to someone. There are so many people in this world that want to help you. And honestly, if you don't want to help yourself, there are so many people that want to help you and want to see you thrive. So please, if you're not doing it for yourself, please do it for others and do it for God as well, who loves you so much. So anyways, the last thing I want to talk about, that's all the Easter eggs. Last thing I want to talk about are the critics and the fans and what they are saying about the movie. This is kind of like the final what you need to know before you go see this movie. So as of April 4th, 2005 at 10:20 p.m., it has a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes with just over 100 reviews. And I'm not gonna read a bunch of those reviews for you, but I did read them. And the general synopsis of what people were saying was, one, the anthological style was a little trippy. And if you don't know what that means, it basically means that they divided the movie up into segments and the movie functions like chapters. So there's 4 chapters of the movie. The interesting thing about this one is that they don't relate to each other. They kind of just go boom, 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 boom. Which kind of threw audiences off a little bit. So you'll like have to pick out a favorite chapter instead of just seeing the movie as a whole. Very interesting. Also, this movie is very similar to Pulp Fiction. And if you know what that movie is, it has a very similar voice and style to what this movie will be. So you'll just have to go watch it and figure that out. The last thing that people were saying is that if you're not from Oakland, it's going to be hard to relate to the characters and the experiences, which is fair, and I get that. I think that there is something to say just about watching something that you don't relate to. Because I think that grows your perspective and your worldview on the world. You need to be exposed to other people's stories and struggles and understanding where people are coming from. I think this is going to be really healthy, really good for audiences to see. I'm sad that it's not getting that high reviews. For another example is it got a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb as of 10:21 p.m. And yeah, honestly, it looks like a mid-movie on paper, but I think the people that are seeing it are noticing that it's a little bit better than what critics are saying. There's one guy on Reddit that I wanted to point out. There's a couple threads I read, but one of them really stuck out to me. It was way more positive. Came from Among Us 555. Great name, by the way. Was fortunate enough to see this one at Sundance back in January 2024. That was the place it premiered. Pretty cool. I highly recommend going to check this one out in a theater if you were able to. Such a passion project with highly stylized action. Also such a crowd pleaser, so I really hope this one will get some decent sized audiences in theaters across the country this weekend. I think this guy, or gal, I'm not really sure, is realizing that this movie speaks to general audiences, even if you don't relate to the experiences of someone who lived in Oakland. I think that's really, really cool. Good stories resonate, man. It's crazy how good stories resonate. So many valid points, many things to bring up, and there's quite a bit going on in this movie. But I think the main takeaway is this is a passion project. And if you're looking for a good movie to watch, something that looks like time and dedication was poured into, this is the one. This is the movie that you will probably walk away with saying, wow, I don't know if I quite agreed with it, and I don't know if I quite enjoyed the experience, but I can walk away with it knowing that someone loved this, that there was a lot of love being poured into it. So I hope you can resonate with that, even if the movie's a little trippy and a little choppy. But it should be really, really good. Hopefully it'll open up your perspective as well. Well, this was fun. I enjoyed this. I hope that you guys will stick around for more content. I got way more content on the channel, so you should go check that out. And I learned a lot about this film, so I'm really excited to go see it in theaters and hope you are too. Be sure to subscribe down below for more content like this, and also drop a comment down below because this channel only kind of operates if you guys interact with the content. So like, please let me know your thoughts. Also, if you drop a comment that I, would love to comment on more, I might make a short on it. So just letting you guys know, that'd be kind of fun. But yeah, there's lots of good movies out there, and Hollywood is getting a really bad rap right now. I really hope that we can redeem Hollywood. And I think part of that is just talking about these movies and giving them some time and really trying to dissect them. So let's redeem Hollywood. Let's stay thoughtful, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.